Welcome into today's episode of Forte Catholic. I'm Taylor Schroll. Today I'm joined by Chris Bartlett. We have a conversation about AI and the church, and we also talk about some things that I need to get off of my chest and some rants. Hope you enjoy today's show. If you do, please hit subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. Have fun. Hello there, and welcome into Forte Catholic. I'm Chris Bartlett. That's Taylor Schroll. What's up, Taylor?
What's up?
How are you, Taylor?
Doing good. I had a good day in my ice chamber. What's the weird stuff that I do again?
Your ice
chronotherapy.
Chamber. I had fun being skinny today with my 87 children who are currently playing in the pool.
And I'm really good at video games. So there you go.
Now we know it's a lie. It's just very confusing. All right. Chris, how are you, man? You doing okay?
Yeah, doing good.
You were better as me than you are as you.
Let's try again. Hey, Taylor, summer is in full swing, and there's a little bit of chaos, to be honest. And it's like the kids are home. I work from home. And so juggling all of that. And there's a little bit of, and I'm sure you go into this from time to time, a little bit like a work guilt. Like you're home and the kids are like, Dad, will you spend time with us? And it's like, not if you want the air conditioning to keep working. I got to go back to work, and stuff like that. So, but it's a healthy tension. I want to spend time with my kids and my kids want to spend time with me. No complaints there. It's just some days I think I should maybe just go off to a coffee shop and just get like 6 hours in a row just done and then come back home and be a dad. So that's the tension.
I have the opposite guilt as you. I am finding it pretty difficult this summer to get myself to do as much work as I should be doing because I'm really enjoying my time with my kids and enjoying some more relaxing time. Like it's summer, it should be a little slower. I had a crazy spring that I don't think I realized it, but I was talking to my wife the other day and she was like, yeah, I think you're like, I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks straight. Like the last 2 weeks, I finally got a special drug and now I'm sleeping great. But I just wasn't sleeping great. And my wife was like, I don't think you've fully processed this spring. I think you're still struggling with the spring. I'm like, I think you're right. So I'm struggling from the spring and prepping for July. I'm going to be traveling for 3 out of 5 weeks. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's this lull of like, I'm constantly going back and forth with this guilt of like, I don't think I'm working enough and I could be doing more. And yet I'm exhausted from what has happened and also pre-tired from next month. So I'm trying to just be happy, and I can't really bring myself to be.
For all the younger listeners, this is literally what it means to be in your 30s and 40s in the work world. You're like, I am pre-tired from an event that I know is going to demand way too much. And the biggest part is not sleeping in your own bed. That does me in. I'm like, oh, okay, great. It'll take me 3 days to recover from the fact that I had to sleep in a hotel bed for one night. It's ridiculous. So I hear you. That's hard.
Yeah, it is. So I don't know. I've just been dealing with a lot of guilt from having a nice, relaxing summer. So that's where I'm at.
We're guilty in different ways, but this is a Catholic podcast, so there's guilt involved. Like there's nothing more Catholic than that. Yeah.
I think it's hilarious because we didn't prep this part, and it is really funny that we are dealing with the same situation and both stressed about it by doing the opposite of what the other one's doing.
Right.
Yeah, that's the real Catholic guilt of I'm never happy no matter what I do.
Exactly. Yep.
You're trying to seek more work to get more money so that you can be less stressed about money. I'm already stressed about money, so I'm trying to relax. And yeah, this is very, very funny. But if only AI could come and take all of our jobs and we could make a ton of money. That's my transition into our first topic of today. Chris, you wanted to help out the show today, which is rare. So you came with the topic.
You shut your mouth, Taylor. I come up with more bits and episodes than all other co-hosts combined.
Yeah, 2 in your lifetime versus the 1 Father Anthony brought to the table.
I'm just saying, scoreboard, man. I'm just saying. But he introduced you to wrestling, and that has been a very enjoyable bit that has reoccurred a number of times. So I don't know if my bits will make it back. But I do want to talk about AI, and I was listening to someone talk about AI in the sense that in some areas it's replacing jobs, right? And so if someone is answering customer complaint emails or whatever, and each one takes them 20 minutes, and now they just put it into a chat bot and spit it out, and they proofread it and add a little bit of personal touch to it and send it out. And now it takes them 5 minutes a letter instead of 20 minutes a letter. That's 4 times faster. And it's not like there's going to be more complaint emails because they're more efficient, so that now they need to hire 1/4 the amount of people. That's AI taking jobs. And then there's another one where it's like, if AI helps a doctor see an extra 6 patients in an hour, I actually think that healthcare could get cheaper. And I think people would be like, well, now I've got a hangnail and I want to go to the doctor because now I can get more medical care through the use of AI or whatever. And so all this is like, well, how does this impact ministry? Like, is there something that can be leveraged from AI in a ministry setting? And I don't mean like you can type in your details and come up with a cool flyer. I'm not talking about AI shortcuts or different things like that. I'm not talking about making sure your grammar is coming through efficiently and different things like that. I'm talking about, like, is there a way that AI can help someone come to know the Lord in a deeper way, or AI can further the mission of your church in a unique way? And I look at some of the mental health implications or applications of AI to where they have chatbots that'll kind of help you talk through and process through some of the stuff that's going on. Because a lot of mental health stuff is being able to articulate what you're feeling, thinking, and experiencing. And AI can help draw that out in a safe and seemingly confidential setting, right? And so is there an application for that in regards to, and I'm not saying AI hears your confession or anything like that, but like if you had questions about the faith and needed to dialogue with someone, do you need to talk with someone, or could an AI chatbot kind of be that first level before they enter into like the foundations course that you and Jennifer teach?
No.
Okay, why not? Why not?
I have been doing this ministry long enough that it's funny that you're like, oh, I'm not talking about this, not talking about this. Like, tools to help, I think it can be. I think ministry is the last thing that AI would replace. And I think that, like, there's even been some people who do ministry like what you're suggesting AI would do ministry. Meaning, I'm going to hear your question and I'm going to answer your question, and or I'm going to answer a question that I want to answer no matter what you're actually asking.
Normally
right?
the case. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Where something that I think you and I have talked about it, but like one of the when you and I do retreats together, there's a lot of things that you do better. There's a lot of things that I do better, which is one of the reasons that I like doing retreats with you. But one of the things that I think one of the talents that I have acquired that I think I'm actually pretty good at is doing these Q&A sessions especially with teenagers, but even with adults. I think it's hearing the question that they're actually asking and not the question that they actually typed out or said out loud, which, like, if I was AI trying to answer these questions. So like when a kid asks, does God hate people who get divorced? It's like, they're not asking the church's teaching about divorce. They're asking the standing of their parents in God's eyes and in the church that they just heard. That's what they're actually asking about. Like, am I a valid child? Are my parents going to hell? Like, that's what they're asking. So
they need a pastoral response, not a textbook answer.
Correct. And you can give correct responses, but also with pastoral understanding, right? Where like an AI chatbot will be like, yeah, Jesus said that divorce is of hell. Good luck. Next question.
Here's 14 references.
Right.
And
exactly.
in the middle, a digital middle finger and move
right,
on.
Yeah. So I think, like, we talked about this just a little bit when I was in grad school, because AI wasn't as prevalent as it is now when I was in grad school. But one of the things that my teacher was talking about is what was it called? It was called catechetical something today, catechetical practice today. And we were at the end of the course, we were looking towards the future and looking at, could we be replaced by robots or computers and that sort of thing.
Just time out real quick. If my kids come downstairs after I've put them to bed and they're like, Dad, I can't fall asleep, I'm just going to say, go upstairs and say the title of Taylor's course 10 times in a row, catechetical practice today. And they will fall asleep by the 8th time they say it.
Oh, see, I thought what you're going to say is, I thought you were proving my point once again. You're like, my kids come down and they're scared. And you're like, no, I'm not going to come lay with you as a pastoral father. I'm going to say, go ask ChatGPT. I'm playing a game. Leave me alone. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Hey, Alexa, help me fall asleep. Sure. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, man. So I think we have the greatest job security of, I think, literally anyone when it comes to AI.
But I also think that we are also in a season where there's the biggest mission territory as well. And there are not enough Christians that are stepping into the role of disciple. And could AI help further or multiply those who are willing to lean in? And that's what I'm intrigued with. And you're saying in pastoral ministry, no. If it's like, here are the mass times, it's like, well, what if I needed this? Here's the rules on getting your kid baptized and the paperwork you need to go. But some of them are like, but we're divorced, and that requires a pastoral response. Hold on while I connect you with, Stacy, our receptionist. But that alone would be a handoff to a real person that would already create distance from the get-go. Like, we have to listen to some of the logistical pieces to get to the pastoral pieces. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, I've had 2 experiences recently of customer service, and one that was very good and one that was very bad. So one is this video game that I've been playing on my phone. It's I can't build anything successful in real life, so I want to try to build it in the virtual world. Like, that's why I play video games, right? So I've been playing this game, it's airport simulator, where I'm in charge of an airport. I have to take care of the customers. I have to build up new planes and, take care of the runway and, make money and make sure all the planes leave on time and all this kind of stuff, right? Well, I kept doing this thing where it was incredibly frustrating, where I kept trying to unlock this area. Because when, like how any video game works, you unlock an area and then, now you have more space I could have put a cafe there or a bathroom or anything to help the airport function better, right? And every time I unlocked it, I would spend like currency, not like real money, but like currency in the game. I would get rid of, or I would open it up. It would take the 4 hours, and after that 4 hours, literally nothing happened. It was all back to where it was locked, and I was annoyed, right? So I emailed the company, and I was like, "Hey, this has happened." And I actually did it twice before I contacted them. I was like, "Look, I spent these coins, and I've spent time now, so I'm pretty frustrated." The first thing that they said was it was a long email that kind of looked like a stock email, but it said, "Hey, English is not our first language. We're a French company. We're going to help you as best as we possibly can. Can you please restate the issue, because we didn't really understand it?" So I worded it a different way, and he said, "Look, we've heard this from a few other players. I've immediately sent you, how many coins do you think that you spent?" And I emailed back, and he immediately restored those coins into my account. He said, "Could you try again?" I tried again. It didn't work. So he's like, I've now given you double the amount of coins that you said that you spent, and I've let our developers know, and hopefully we'll fix this in the next patch. End of thing. So a little frustrating, right? But because I can't go further in that part of the game, but I got a human response, and the guy did the best that he could, and he ended up giving me back more than I spent. Awesome. Right. The negative one is I've been trying to work with a large company for advertisement. I'll just put it that way. They shut down my account because I broke some rule, and I'm trying to get back the account to be able to help market Forte Catholic. Great, right? And so I emailed them like, "Hey, can you unsuspend the account so that I can?" They send me the process. They're like, "Hey, let us know when you're ready to unsuspend the account. You can fix the problem. Email us back, and then we'll unsuspend your account." I do exactly what they ask. And then I send an email back, and they're like, "We've scrubbed your account, and we found this error message." So I go and I fix this error, and then I email them back. And then they're like, "Oh, we found this other error, and you fix this." And then I get stuck in this loop after like the 4th error that I have
resolved.
Fixed. I'm literally emailing them. It's like, "I have fixed it. Can you unsuspend my account?" And they keep sending me the same exact email, word for word, over and over. I'm like, "Can you please be more specific? I really want to get this right." And literally every email is like, "Thank you. We value your continued attempts to fix this." It's literally word for word. Every single time. I'm not talking to a human being that's trying to help me. I'm trying to ask a robot, and it sucks, and I hate it. I can't get an answer. And it's like, so one of them, I was frustrated with both situations. Now I'm not frustrated about one. I talked to a human being. I'm getting more and more frustrated and actually feeling defeated and wanting to give up because I can't talk to a person.
who doesn't speak English.
Yes.
Versus a robot that has
French man.
every word in the universe at its
Yes.
disposal, and it still can't provide clarity.
It's driving me nuts, dude.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Well, what about this?
You're going to have to stop asking me questions at some point and just give me what you're thinking, because I'm clearly not a fan of this.
Okay. What about this? Let's say that that you're a priest and someone comes in and they don't speak English, and that's the only language you speak. Could you use an AI translator?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you'd be okay with AI in that.
Yeah. So like that's, I think that falls into the category of the thing that you didn't want to talk about in the first place, which is like tools for assistance, right?
Yeah.
There's actually a tool on my iPhone that can literally do that. I had it ready for when I traveled overseas. When I went to Ireland, this was before I learned everything about Ireland. They all just speak English. I had no idea. So they're literally next to the country that started English. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm just an idiot, right? But I was ready, like, with the app where I was like, I talked and then it translates to theirs, and then they would talk into my phone and it would translate to English. Awesome.
We used it in Europe quite a bit, and sometimes the dialogue, it couldn't keep up with it fast enough. Right. But
did you just call me a giraffe?
I'm like, no, undo, and then you type in the word so it translates the right way.
Right.
Okay, so you're not a fan. Catholic Answers did this thing, and they came out with what they called Father Justin. And it was an AI chatbot to be able to ask all these questions to. And of course, the internet went nuts, and they were asking all sorts of things. And it's, can we get it to justify contraception, or can we get it to
justify?
To justify. And a lot of people were offended because it's like using the title Father Justin. So they came back and they said, hey, we're sorry that we said Father. We're just going to call it, Catechist Justin or something like that, like your friend Justin. And so they peeled back on the Father piece. But they did say in their thing, we want to acknowledge there's a lot of pushback, but we want to also acknowledge that we're trying to figure out how to utilize this new technology in the modern world. And usually the Catholic Church lags behind in this arena. And so we're not sorry that we tried, and we're going to keep trying to do it better. And so there's some cool kind of reaches that are happening there. How do you feel about Father Justin from Catholic Answers?
Yeah, I wasn't as angry as everybody else was, because I wasn't trying, like, when I used it, I wasn't trying to make it say stupid things, right? But the reason that it failed is the same reason that, like, okay, AI is the new technology. You remember when Googling was the new technology, like 15, 20 years ago or whatever? And like, it wasn't new. Let's say Google wasn't new when I was in my faith, but I started using it as a tool when I was catechizing for the first time. I started leading college ministry and all this stuff. And people would come to me, young people, they're just my age at the time, right? People would come to me and ask, like, how do you know all this stuff? Where'd you learn this? And I would say, well, I learned it in church. I learned it in youth group. I learned it in my classes. But whenever I have a question, where do I go? I go to Catholic Answers, because other people would at my Catholic school that very often my non-Catholic theology teachers would teach something not Catholic, and people would come to me with questions about it. Like, that's why it was a frustrating experience. And they would say, well, we Googled it and we're not sure, because we got 7 different answers about what the Catholic Church teaches. Because you can't just Google something. Like, I would literally always say, go to Catholic Answers, because they have answered every question about Catholicism ever asked on their radio show. So I promise you can Google your answer and it'll pop up the 5-minute clip of Jimmy Akin or somebody answering this question. Or there's articles about it. And I said specifically, don't go to the forums on their website, because the forums is just people having conversations. And it's just their own opinion. I'm like, the only people who I care about their opinion is the Jimmy Akins and the Jeff Cavins and all the people that worked there at the time, right? So even when there was new technology back then, I would say only go to the professional apologists at Catholic Answers. So the irony of Catholic Answers doing this is you just gave us another tool that isn't your professional apologist. Like,
sure.
Once again, like, I'm consistent, man. Just ask people.
that is consistent. But I will say that they did a lot of work to make sure that the answers that, quote unquote, their AI Father Justin would give was aligned with their outstanding team, the people, right? And I think it was just kind of a unique search function. Because, I mean, before Google, there was ask.com. And before that, it was called Ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
Do you remember when it was Ask
Life was
Jeeves?
way better when we just had Ask Jeeves.
back when we would print out MapQuest. Like, those were some days, you know, but...
okay, that was worse.
Yeah. But here's the deal. I think that there's a forward-thinking piece to where there's an application or implication in ministry settings that we haven't uncovered yet, but it's complicated because the average person does not want to interact with a chatbot. But there have been a couple of chatbot pieces where people are like, I actually was able to process some of my mental health stuff, and the next appointment I could get is 3 weeks from now. So this was a good placeholder. You know, and I don't know what that translates in regards to ministry, because every baptized person should be a source of pastoral response. I just don't think we're there yet, but I don't know AI written homilies. That's not what I'm asking. That's not the application that I'm looking for.
We're already getting this.
I know we are. But I will say, if I want to type into AI and be like, give me a couple scripture verses on the way we're called to listen to God. And as a starting point for a reflection or a starting point for a talk or something like that, I'm okay with that. But that's using AI the same way you would use Google, you know, and that's already been around. So yeah, I don't know. I think Gary V, do you know Gary V? He's like a marketing guy or whatever.
Yeah. That's Ask Jeeves' son.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. His grandson, probably. But he said, what's your hot take in regards to AI? He says, I believe that our grandchildren will marry AI. Like, we'll be married to an AI. And I was like, that's a little extreme. But for that to be a thought of someone who's immersed in that world and say, okay, that could be a possibility, makes me really think like maybe there's more humane pastoral applications of AI that we haven't scratched yet. And I'm interested to see what those are, and uncomfortable, because I don't want to do a confession to AI and then it creates a summary of a priest who's right next door who just gives absolution based upon the bullet points. But I also don't want to sit in line for an hour to go to confession because there's 16 people ahead of me in line. And if AI would make it a 30-second wait instead of a hour-long wait, maybe I'm open to it. Maybe.
How are you suggesting that the lines are shorter?
You confess to the AI chatbot or whatever. It provides a bullet point summary that the priest can then give a quick penance for and absolution. That's what I'm suggesting.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. There's no way that you believe that.
Hold on. Let me change it.
I really want you to give your thoughts on this, because you've only asked me questions, and I just have to, for my soul, think that that's you playing devil's advocate and trying to be on the other side of this argument for me. That's the dumbest thing you've ever said.
Can we throw away sacramental theology freaking shorter? That's what I'm asking in confession. That's all.
No, we can't. No.
What about this then? Can we have an AI companion that's in it's like a little screen like on an airplane that explains that serious sin you have to name, but minor sins you don't have to name? They're all covered. So grandma, your confession shouldn't take 17 minutes. It can take 3 minutes. A 3-minute confession is charitable if there's a long line. That is what I need an AI chatbot to pop up and be like, hey, you think about that this is a coffee with the priest? No, you can actually ask the priest to coffee. This is confession. Get in, get out, get clean. Maybe.
You know who else could solve that problem? People, human beings. That's not I need an AI screen also on the confession screen. That's just teaching people how to do things. Like, you know what we've had for literally years, Chris, is pamphlets on how to go to confession. And almost everybody sits there and reads them because there's nothing else to do other than look at your phone. And if you look at your phone, you're going to get weird looks. So what does everybody do? Read the pamphlet. You know what it says in the pamphlet? You only have to confess the mortal sins. And no one cares. Janice is still going to talk about her cat for 14 minutes. It's AI isn't solving the Janice problem. The thing that's going to solve the Janice problem is she's going to die in a few years, and then your line will be shorter. Congratulations, Chris.
But what if Janice just wants to feel listened to? An AI can listen to Janice. Let the rest of us get sacramental grace. That's what I'm saying.
So your suggestion is for Janice to go to the mental health AI, and then we can just be done with all of this.
That's it. And that's our show. We got you. Yep, we got to the destination.
Okay, you've asked me so many questions. What are some? And I keep shooting you down. I need you to give me something because you couldn't have given a worse example. I need you to. You've clearly thought through this, and you want to find a good use for AI. I'm going to let go of your last 5 minutes and try to come with an open heart and mind. What's a good suggestion for how we can use AI in ministry?
So 1 in 10 pastors are comfortable using AI to help write their sermons, and actually to write their sermons for them. There's only like 6% of pastors that are like, I'm okay with it for counseling the congregation. So I think it all lands in a pretty similar arena where you're sitting in regards to for pastoral response and human things. Humans are still the best. But I can't help but wonder if there is a ministerial role that AI could play beyond just using AI as a fancy Google. And I can't think of any like how. Is there a way that AI could facilitate relationship, facilitate that human response, not replace it, but facilitate it in a healthy way? Because I think pastors, they have a limited bandwidth. Is there a way that AI could help them out? And it's like, well, then the counter argument is, well, that's what the parishioners are for. Like, that's literally why there's a congregation, so that we can extend the pastor's mission and heart that God has given them in their place of authority. But people aren't doing that. So I guess I'm just frustrated and I want a solution, and people stepping up has not been historically my experience of the solution. And so maybe we can get a robot to do that, because I'm at my wit's end of the fact that evangelization in the church today is centered around that's the priest's job instead of that's everyone's job. And I'm like, maybe if we make it AI's job, then at least someone will be doing it outside of the Roman caller.
It's the saddest response. I'm not angry anymore. Like I hear your frustration, and I too am saddened by it. Right?
Yeah.
It's not the solution. It's not the solution, but I understand the ache. So here's how AI could help, and I think. So let's step out of the church for a second. The whole idea of AI and robots taking all of our jobs. End game of that. What is the end game of other than the robots turning on us and killing us? And I'm not talking about the silly version, but like, what's the goal of this AI and robots in regards to humanity?
So I guess optimized efficiency, but ultimately it creates a very difficult situation depending upon how resources are distributed. I mean, is that what you're looking for? Kind of the Elon Musk saying that we need a national minimum wage because when AI takes over all of our jobs, but that also will create a huge opportunity for leisure and reflection, where philosophy and man's search for meaning might actually come to the forefront and be more valuable. I mean, I don't know. There's lots of different ways to speculate.
That's the answer. That's what I was looking for, right? So I think the desire for more human beings being available to do this evangelization work, to do this pastoral work that is causing angst in you and I, the answer is not making the robots do the pastoral and human work. The answer would be having the AI do all the non-human and pastoral work, so that the human beings who are equipped and trained and put in the position to do these things, like pastoral ministers, people who work in the church, and father and sister and the DRE and the catechist. So like, think about like how much of your time as a youth minister was doing youth ministry. I don't know, 30% of your
On a good week.
Of your 100%, right?
Yeah.
The rest of it was meetings, which robots don't need to meet with each other. A lot, like I'm thinking, like accounting and finances and marketing and emails and
Planning.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
All of that stuff can be given over to the robots and the AI in the future. I don't think we're there yet, but
Right.
like, but all of that stuff, so that the entire parish staff could be doing the human and pastoral work, right? Because if robots are doing all the cleaning and doing all the accounting and doing all the finances and doing all the mailers and all that kind of stuff, then Suzanne, the parish office lady, doesn't have to do all that stuff. She could be answering phone calls. She could be talking to people. She could be doing pastoral work. So I think,
yeah. So don't shrink your parish staff. Send them to people's homes to say hello and be the church in the community instead of only when people come to the church or the parish property. Yeah.
So I think it's less of we need more human interaction. The need for human interaction doesn't need to be replaced by human or robots trying to simulate human interaction. Let the robots do what the robots can do well, so that human beings are freed up both in time, mental capabilities, like because we would have more time for leisure and relaxing and also human interaction, right? Like I wouldn't have to sit at a computer for 8 hours and I could spend 6 hours spending time with people, that sort of thing.
Right. Great. Then we welcome the AI overlords to help us share that Jesus is the Lord. There you go.
There you go. All right. Very good. All right. I have something to get off my chest, and you're not an AI robot, but I'm going to go to confession to you and the listeners here today. So my question for you, Chris, there's something that people have been arguing about in the Mass for a very long time, but it definitely has a point. And usually it's more of a metaphorical point or to make you think about something. But what is the point of the sign of peace at Mass?
It's to make sure that you can say hi to everyone that sits in your section.
No.
Darn. Okay. It's to put us in a place to where we can receive Christ. It puts us at peace or resolves any tension so that we can come to the altar clean.
And where that is correct. Where does that come from?
Jesus, the Bible.
Okay. What did he say?
Amen, amen, I say to you, unless you turn and offer your hand and they offer a hug and there's slight tension between whether or not you're going to hug or handshake, then you shall not inherit the kingdom of God. That's
a very loose translation. It must be from the Message. But you are right that it is Jesus. You are right that it is from the gospel. And it's like, it's if you come to the altar with your offering and you have a problem with your brother, leave your offering, go and make up with your brother, and then come back and give your offering. And it's just this, usually it's symbolic. It's like, oh, okay, I have a problem with a family member or a coworker or somebody. It's not like physically, I mean, maybe it is physically leave and go do that and come back. But I think it's more of in that moment, I'm always like, okay, who do I need to forgive? Who do I need to work through this process of forgiveness? We talked about this idea of, how many times do we need to forgive, Jesus? Is it 1? Is it 7? And Jesus is like, no, 70 times 7, right? 490 times.
He turns it into an SAT question. Yeah, thanks, Jesus.
So we talked before about this process of forgiveness, right? And I can forgive somebody 8 times and still be mad at them. And it's because I've done 8 out of the 490 that Jesus has commanded me to do, right?
Sure.
This forgiveness is a process. It's a choice to do it, but I'm still can be mad at people, right? So the funny version of this that I've shared before is like, what if the priest has something between him and his brother priest? And he's just up at the altar and he's about to do the consecration. He's just like, I got to bounce. I'll be right back. I peed in Father Jeremy Cheerios earlier. I got to go apologize. Like, that's the funny version of it, right? But I think the real version is there is the people, usually it's your family, right? okay, I had a rough morning with my wife, or I yelled at my son last night, or I shushed my daughter really loud in church this morning and she got really sad about it. Right? Usually I think the sign of a peace practically is meant for within your family, because those are the people you see all the time. You give them a hug, you say peace be with you, and then you're like, okay, we kind of move on, right? That's as a son growing up, and now it's as a father and a husband. Like that has been true for forever. But also if there's people far away, like I take a moment to either say like, oh, I forgive so-and-so, or I ask that you help me forgive them, something along those lines, right? Bring to mind those people. Never in my life has the sign of peace actually been more practical than a recent Sunday at Mass. So
Context. Yeah. Lay it on us.
I walk into Mass and I'm sitting there with my family, and the irony of this entire situation is it's a summer Mass, like usually like our parish is hopping like, during the school year, and we've gotten to the point where we're standing room only at almost all of our Masses. During the summer, you can sit wherever you want. It's perfectly fine. Everybody's traveling, everybody's good. So I could have sat in any of 13 different pews with my family of 5. We would have been fine, right?
Yep.
I don't realize until after the fact that I am now sitting behind 2 people who I haven't spoken to or interacted with in a year, who ruined something really, really nice for me. And I completely cut them out of my life. And they are mad at me because I cut them out of their lives, thinking that I'm supposed to be this leader in our parish community and the perfect person. I'm supposed to be great. I'm like, you tried to take advantage of somebody that I care about, and you screwed me, and I'm not happy about it. And how I'm going to deal with that is by cutting you completely out of my life. The cutting out of my life, perfectly fine. I was mad at them for like 3 months. And then time just happened and I didn't see them. The cutting them out of my life worked. Everything was golden, right? And then this past Sunday happens, and I look in front of me and they turn around as we do this is even before the sign of peace. This is the like, greet your neighbor, say hello.
Right at the beginning of Mass. Yep.
And I go, oh no, right? So what do I do during the greet your neighbor? That's literally the moment that I realize they're sitting in front of me, and I shake one of their hands, and then I shake the hands of everybody behind me, and I make a concerted effort to only shake the hands of my family and those behind me, and I'm just trying to ignore the whole situation, right? I am fuming during Mass. I was in a good mood showing up to Mass, and then at this moment, I am not.
You're reliving everything.
Reliving everything. And all the forgiveness and the hurt that I thought I had gotten through, I did not get through it. I shoved it under the rug, and I didn't notice the rug, and then somebody pulled the rug up, and it smelled terrible under that rug.
Sure,
so,
of course.
The entire Mass was me literally going back and forth every 2 minutes I'm reliving the entire thing and going, am I in the wrong? Am I the bad person? Am I going to shake their hand during the sign of peace? What are they going to do? Like, why do they hate me? This isn't fair. I didn't do anything wrong. It's one of those, like, usually, like you and I have been friends. I've pissed you off. You've pissed me off. Usually it's 50-50, either in the exact moment or at least over the course of a month. You pissed me off twice. I pissed you off thrice. Next month, it'll be 3 for you and 2 for me. Like, it usually kind of evens out amongst friends or people you care about, right? But this is one of the rare situations in my life that I could say, like, this wasn't me. Like, you were the bad person. Like, essentially more of the like, hey, if you're growing a tree and there's something not growing on it, you should prune that thing off. And I pruned them out of my life. I think what I did was the right thing, but what I did not do, then I did not realize this until Sunday. I have not forgiven them. I have not finished the process of forgiving them. So every 2 minutes I was like, I'm mad at them. And then feeling righteous, like, why are they mad at me? And then 2 minutes of like trying to forgive them and then going back and forth through that entire process. I have no idea what the readings were. I have no idea what feast it was. I have no idea what the homily was about. I'm guessing we did the Eucharistic prayer at some point, but I know we did the sign of peace. Because when we did the sign of peace, I'm trying to make this as least awkward as possible. I turn immediately to my family. I turn immediately to the family behind me. We're all doing sign of peace. Then it's over. We're singing the Agnus Dei. And I turn around, and one of these people is passive aggressively holding their hand out to me and says, "Peace be with you, Taylor." And I'm like, I shake their hand because it's what you're supposed to do, but I'm like, screw you. Like, literally in the sign of peace, I am angry at this person, and I'm like, just leave me alone. Leave me alone. And so I left feeling like I'm a terrible person for someone else's mistake.
But you're saying from your experience, they extended the sign of peace like I extend my middle finger towards someone that cuts me off in traffic.
Correct.
That
I don't think it was an olive branch. I think it was you're gonna do this, and I'm trying to make you feel bad, and it worked.
So I had a situation where one time I extended it, and this woman was just mad at the world, and I said, "Peace be with you," and she said, "Christ's peace be with you, not mine," and then shook my hand. I was like, just.
I'm glad she said Christ's peace, because apparently she didn't have any to give.
It was crazy. But I mean, you had already during the homily thought maybe one of my kids needs to go to the bathroom, and we could just be out there during the sign of peace. Like, you had already thought about avoiding the situation altogether.
Yes.
And then the situation remained. Like, this is after the sign of peace. You dodged it the best you could, and they're just still standing there. And the tone came across almost like a neener, peace be with you type of thing.
Right. So I feel less peaceful after this supposedly peaceful moment. And I realized that, like, even though they're the ones that made the mistake, it did make me feel like a bad person, because I have not forgiven them. And I had this conversation with a few people last night where I'm like, I'm bad at forgiving. And I'm not bad at going through the motions of saying, like, oh, I forgive this person or whatever. But it's like, I almost don't want to forgive them because I like being angry. Like,
yeah.
and part of it is like, I think sometimes it's to make myself feel better when I actually did make a mistake. That's part of the reason that I want to stay angry at them. But it's like, in this situation, it's like, I don't know, like, where's the balance between justice and forgiveness, right? Where it's like, I am mad at them out of real, actual justice. Like, they really screwed somebody else and screwed me. But like, I'm called to forgive them, but I don't like what they did. Like, and I understand that, like, that's the only time you actually can forgive somebody, but it's just hard. And this has been a theme, right? Like, there's a theme over the last few months of the podcast, a supposedly joyful podcast, that I'm just angry all the time. And I am angry because people keep pissing me off, and I'm bad at forgiving. And it's just this spiral of anger and unforgiveness, and I don't know what to do.
So first, I am so sorry that whether it was real or perceived, that a piece of the liturgy was weaponized against you. That was not an offering of peace. I think that was an acknowledgement of the hatchet, and they had no intention of burying it. And you, or at least from your experience, did not feel like that was an opportunity to bury the hatchet. So that's not fair. We should never weaponize the liturgy. And I see that done a lot in a variety of different ways. But usually it's not during the actual liturgy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's usually in conversations afterwards. You didn't genuflect enough, or you don't do this when you receive communion. All these different things that Catholics throw back and forth to each other. This was in the midst of the liturgy. I am so sorry that happened to you during the liturgy. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. There is a difference between justice and forgiveness, and even justice and mercy. As justice, you may never invite that person or that family or whatever into your life again. And that's just, that might be right and just, right? Because that might be stupid of you to do that. That might be imprudent or unfair to your family members or whatever, you know what I mean? But in regards to the forgiveness piece, you can still forgive someone and say, hey, tall fences make good neighbors, but I forgive you for that. But now I'm building a taller fence, you know, and this is going to make us better neighbors. This is a good boundary to set.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the steam is still coming off your head while you're going up to receive Jesus Christ in the Eucharist.
And like, it was this weird thing of like, I chose to stay where I was to not make it awkward by moving. Like one of the valid things that I was thinking about doing was, like you said, either taking one of my kids to the bathroom or just me going to the bathroom. And like, there was a spot at the other end of the pew where I could have sat like next to my, you know, because usually we do parent, 3 kids, and then parent. That's just how we typically do at Mass. But I could have like left and then come back and sat next to my wife on the end, right? And then honestly, my kids, it's usually because the littlest likes to be in between her parents, so it probably would have reshifted, right? But I didn't want to be the one. I just wanted to pretend like we're all done. Like this is just over. Let's just keep each other out of each other's lives. We happen to sit by each other. Can we just pretend like we're not here? And I thought that they could do that, and I was trying to do that. And now, in retrospect, I should have done the quote unquote rude thing, or that could have been perceived as rude. I could have removed myself and put myself at the end. It's this weird thing, man, where it's like we literally pray in the Our Father, like, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And then here I am, like, leaving myself in the situation that's not good for me and probably not good for them. But at the same time, it's like, I have to forgive those, or God will forgive me as I forgive people. It's like, I felt like the rude thing to do would have been to get up and move because I don't want to sit by you. Like, I think that's a really rude thing to do at church. Ew, you're gross. I don't want to sit by you. I'm going to go sit over there. But at the same time, they then made it worse by me not doing that thing. I don't know, man.
So do you know what the Benz is?
Mercedes?
No, like it's a vertigo. It's like if you go deep sea diving and you're scuba diving and you surface too fast, right? You can get sick. You can even die from it, right? From doing that. So you have to every couple hundred feet, you have to reacclimate your body to the new pressure and the new pressure and the new pressure. And I think that sometimes forgiveness requires that in regards to time. Like, forgiveness takes time, but in our American Christian worldview, it's like, oh yeah, forgive them instantly, right? My grandfather hated Japanese people because he lost a friend in Pearl Harbor. And it took him a long time to where he could share society in a way without that bitterness doing that. And it was unfair, 2 weeks after the bombing of Pearl Harbor to be like, yeah, you should be over it. You should have forgiven him for now. Like,
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
We recognize that it's going to take time. This is one of those situations that takes time. And so forgiveness in this case is a process, right? And if you're not in a place where the step of shaking their hand is that might be 6 months down the road in the process. You're like, I'm on the forgiveness path. I just haven't gotten to that point in the path yet. And so right now on my forgiveness journey, moving pews is a better response to where I'm at in this forgiveness journey. If that was your intent, instead of saying, no, I'm going to pour fuel on the fire because there's still some coals that can start burning again. And that's what I'm saying when I'm moving pews or when I'm extending my hand and saying, peace be with you, Taylor, right? That felt like a little more gasoline on some coals. I think that maybe in the forgiveness journey, you just both of you weren't at that place to where shaking hands at peace is where you guys were at. That doesn't mean that you weren't in the process of forgiveness. Like I'm taking baby steps.
I think that's where my guilt is coming from, though, is I think 9 months ago, this happened a year ago. I think 9 months ago, time healed enough where I wasn't thinking about it constantly and I wasn't like trying to actively forgive them. And I did not forgive them. And then I just stopped thinking about them for 9 months. And I think the guilt comes from, I am supposed to forgive people and I did not finish forgiving them. And to the point where maybe if I had done more work forgiving them, it wouldn't have been this bad this Sunday. So like, even though I'm the person who was harmed in the scenario a year ago, and other people were harmed too, right? But like, even though I'm the person who should be in the place to forgive, I have not actively pursued forgiving them, right? So even though I think they're in the wrong, I was in the right, it didn't feel good to receive that, but it also didn't feel good to realize I haven't been forgiving these people.
So incremental forgiveness might be something that's worth trying.
So what do I do? Like, because now I'm feeling this, right? And now I have to do something about it, but I don't know what to do. Like, the only thing I can think of is I've forgiven them 8 times. I just need to count to 470 and just, I forgive them. Peace be with you. I forgive them.
Right. And then you got all the punch cards and you go and you redeem it for a free coffee. Like, that's the cool thing about that 70 times 7.
Give it into heaven free thing. Because that's what I'm scared about is the forgive me as I forgive those who have trespass against me. It's like, well, if I haven't forgiven them, if I die tomorrow, I'm screwed.
Right. And so right now, I think that incremental forgiveness is something that is within your reach, right? I'm not asking you to forgive them for everything, but I would challenge you that you could say, in the name of Jesus, I forgive this person for making the sign of peace awkward. That's something that you could do to forgive them. And they don't have to be there to receive it. That's the amazing thing. Otherwise, when someone dies and you have unforgiveness in your heart, then there'd be no resolution ever. But you can actually have resolution by just simply saying, in the name of Jesus, I forgive this person for this. Or in this case, for this aspect of this, right? And I also think that you might need to say, for the name of Jesus, I forgive myself for not knowing how to journey in this forgiveness process, to give yourself some freedom to be able to say, I'm on this process and I didn't want to look at it. And it looked at me on Sunday or whenever that mass was. And that woke you up. Jesus, I'm listening, that there's some unforgiveness in my life, So that's what I would say is you can actually forgive them without actually having to see them or without them having to apologize to you.
Yeah. No, I think that's great advice. And I think that's what I need to do is just get back on the actively forgiveness train with them and everybody else that I probably need to forgive too. Like anybody else that I still have resentment towards or anger to. I think, yeah, because it's like bringing it up in my mind, all the things that people have done to hurt me that I'm not over yet just doesn't sound fun and doesn't sound like a good time. But I don't want to have a moment like that again. Right. So like I want to be better. And I think your advice is helpful. And I think a robot couldn't have done that.
Thank you. Just don't dump any water on me. I could be AI. But I think this is one of the superpowers. That's why all your
kids in the pool and you're here with
and
me.
I'm not in the pool. Yeah. I think this is one of the superpowers of the Catholic Church. Like from a mental health standpoint, Catholics that go to confession on a regular basis, quarterly basis, or monthly basis are healthier in so many ways. And it's just because they go through the process of self-reflection and saying sorry and asking and receiving forgiveness. Like that's a powerful, powerful reality. And so for you to sit there and say, Jesus, in your name, I forgive this person, or Jesus, in your name, to whatever degree I am capable, I forgive this person for this or for this aspect of this. And all of a sudden our souls get lighter and cancer starts to leave our bodies. And we're like, why? Because anxiety left with that resentment that we let go, that we release, that the Lord wants to take from us. It's a powerful thing. So just in the name of Jesus, I forgive, and then mention the situation or the aspect of the situation that you're willing to let go of. And when you open up the hand to let go, you're there to receive the Lord's grace in a powerful way.
All right, so we'll end in prayer. In the name of Jesus, I forgive Chris for suggesting that AI robots could hear my confession. All right, that's our show today. I'm Taylor Schroll. That's Chris Bartlett. I'll be back next week. He'll be back in a month. See ya. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can catch any of our past episodes over on our YouTube channel or wherever you listen to podcasts. We've also got so much other stuff going on over on youtube.com/Forte Catholic. Talks, podcasts, music, all sorts of things. I'll see you very soon. Love you. Bye.